This is everything you need to know about me, George Washing Machine. I mean Washington. Sorry.
Andy, I'm digging the look.
Yeah, I asked the barber to take a little bit off the top. Instead, he made me look like an old lady.
I think you actually look like the first president of the United States.
George Washing Machine?
Yes, George Washing Machine.
Well, I hate to admit this, but I have a confession to make.
Well, what is it?
Well, I know absolutely nothing about the guy, except that he invented the washing machine.
Well, first of all, he didn't invent that. And second, I guess we need to do a biography on George Washington.
I have a confession to make. I have lost the ability to blink. See?
Well before the United States were the United States, George Washington was born on February 22nd, 1732, in Westmoreland County, Virginia.
That's George Washington?
Yup. But where's his weird old lady here? Relax, this is well before that. George grew up in colonial Virginia. His father, a landowner and planter, died when George was just 11 years old. Luckily, George had an older brother named Lawrence who took really good care of him. Aw, don't worry, George, I'll take care of you. What do you say we start the night off with a fresh home-cooked meal of Kraft macaroni and cheese and popcorn? Lawrence helped to raise George and made sure that he was a smart kid. Subtract the 5, carry the 2, and that equals macaroni and cheese and popcorn.
What? 2 minutes in and no reference to washing machines. To say I am disappointed would be an understatement.
Relax, Andy. So when George was 16 years old, he left his house to find a job. George, come back! I promise I'll make your favorite macaroni and cheese and popcorn. What? And lucky for him, he actually found a job as a
washing machine?
No, just listen.
George got a job as a surveyor. It was his job to measure land and make maps. Shortly after that, George joined the Virginia Army. Eventually, he was put in charge of a whole entire militia. He was a part of that militia during the start of the French and Indian War.
Ah, the French and Indian War. An entire conflict based on the age-old question.
What question is that?
What is the best type of French fry? What? Is it curly fries? Waffle fries? Those really long, skinny fries?
No, the French and Indian War was a big war that had a huge impact on America's independence.
Okay, so what happened next?
After the French and Indian War, George married Martha Dandridge Custis. They lived together on a farm in Mount Vernon, Virginia. They never had kids of their own, but George was a stepfather to 2 of Martha's kids from her first husband before marrying George.
Hey, could George Washington blink? Because I still can't, and it's freaking me out.
Imagine, you meet your stepdad and it's George Washington. My stepdad looks like Mrs. Potato Head.
Mrs.? Don't you mean Mr.?
No, trust me, it's Mrs.
What? George was said to be a natural leader, and eventually, he took his skills to Virginia's colonial legislator. Ugh, my hair is looking grayer than George Washington's. What? Oh, wait, I am George Washington. This group talked about a lot of things, but most importantly, they all agreed that they were being treated unfairly by England. All right, raise your hands if you think England stinks. Oh, wait, your hands are already up. All right, never mind.
England being mean to the United States? I thought they were best buds.
You gotta remember, Andy, this was before the United States were the United States. They were just colonies.
What do you mean?
Well, these colonies were being run by England. And to be honest, they didn't really like the way they were running the colonies.
Hey guys, I just looked up on my phone, unable to blink on WebMD. Yeah, it turns out I've been dead since 1973. What? Is that weird?
George and a bunch of other landowners were unhappy with England because they made a lot of rules that the colonists thought were unfair. I'm the king of England. Give me all your monies.
But why?
'Cause I wants it. I wants it real bad. Huh? England didn't want to change the rules, so the colonies decided to declare their independence, and they chose George to lead the army. Hey guys, before we do the whole independence thing, is there something on my nose?
What? Independence? Isn't that the movie from the 90s starring Will Smith?
Yeah, but independence kind of means being on your own. And when America declared their independence, they started one of the biggest wars in American history, the American Revolution.
Whoa. George led a ragtag group of volunteers and soldiers to fight against a well-trained British army.
Hey, Johnny, check out this guy with the stick over here.
Oh man, I wish I had one of those pointy sticks. All they gave me is this dumb gun.
George's group was constantly low on food and supplies. His army would even sometimes march into battle without shoes. Whoa. However, he managed to hold the army together, even during tough times and losing battles. But one of the most famous stories from the Revolutionary War involves George crossing the Delaware River.
Did he ride a washing machine across the river?
Oh my gosh, you're obsessed with washing machines.
What? I like smelling cottony fresh.
On Christmas in 1776, it was a cold and wintry night. The wind was blowing and it was snowing. On one side of the Delaware River, George Washington and the Continental Army camped. On the other side, a British army held the town of Trenton, New Jersey. With the icy cold Delaware River separating the two armies, the British didn't expect anyone to attack.
Trust me, Bartholomew, we're 100% safe over here.
They are totally not safe.
And when George Washington and the army arrived in Trenton, the British army was shocked and eventually surrendered. Whoa. Years later, at the Siege of Yorktown, the British army completely surrendered and America won the Revolutionary War.
Wow, this guy was impressive. Did he do anything else?
Well, duh, he went on to become the first president of the United States.
But how?
Well,
After winning the Revolutionary War, it took a few years, but the Americans eventually created their own brand new government. George was the leader of the Constitutional Congress, the group that drew up the U.S. Constitution, a document that had all the major laws we have in the United States. Eventually, when it came time to pick a leader of the new free America, everyone pretty much agreed that there was no one better than George Washing Machine. Washington.
What about the hair?
what about it?
It had to be a wig, right? I imagine a slick-headed Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson type fella beneath that thing.
No, that was actually his hair. It just looked white because he powdered it. It was kind of the style back then.
What about his teeth? Were they really made of wood? Nope. George did have some teeth problems throughout his life, and he did have some fake teeth, but they weren't made of wood.
So George Washington and I have a lot in common.
How's that? He had horrible teeth, and I have the complete inability to blink. Look! Still not blinking. It's impressive, I'm not gonna lie. Till you rub some hot sauce in there, it'll burn. Burn. It'll burn.
George eventually died on December 14, 1799, at his home in Mount Vernon. Today, he's still learned about by kids all over the country, and is even honored with giant monuments in Washington, D.C., and Mount Rushmore in South Dakota.
Wow, George Washington is an interesting guy.
Wow, Andy, you did it! You said his name right! Did you hear that, Steve?
Is he asleep? His eyes are open.
Didn't you hear him before? He doesn't have the ability to blink. He said it like 400 times throughout this video.
What video?
The one we're filming right now on George Washington.
You mean George Washing Machine?
Help me.
Hey guys, this video could not have been made without the help from Mr. DeMaio's patrons on Patreon, especially Mrs. Brown's First Grade, Dean Scandalakis, Chris F., Santisuk Siriu, hope I said that right, Nadia and Hannah, Jacobo Lorenzo C., Wesley C., Riley Muck, Arya and Kieran, Kai Kim, Marley and Lennon Kimsey, Michelle and Conrad, Harry, Zeno the Shark, and the kids from Atlantic Highlands Library listed below. You can sign up for Mr. DeMaio's Patreon by visiting the link in the description box. By signing up, you can see behind-the-scenes videos, see videos early, get your name in the video, pick Mr. DeMaio's next topic, and more. Check the description box for a link. Also, when you're done eating your macaroni and cheese and popcorn, I've hidden a secret coupon code in this video. It's red and has a hashtag symbol before it. Try to find it. You can use it to save money on Mr. DeMaio's merchandise sold at his Teespring store. You could buy this bird shirt, Roberta pillow, and more. Check the description box for a link. And last, take the George Washington quiz that goes along with this video at Mr. DeMaio's Teachers Pay Teachers site. He has a bunch of other quizzes and worksheets for his other videos there too. Check the description box for a link.